Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into a fascinating country in the heart of Southeast Asia.
Thailand?
Exactly, Thailand, often called the land of smiles. And our mission, like always, is to sort through all these sources you've provided us and pull out the really key bits of knowledge, the stuff that helps you get genuinely informed about this place.
Right.
Because, first impressions from the material, it paints this picture of incredible vibrancy. Tropical beaches, sure, but also these ornate temples, rich culture.
And really warm people. That comes through strongly.
It does. Exceptionally welcoming, the sources say.
And, it really does live up to that nickname, Land of Smiles. What the sources keep pointing out is how Thailand manages to weave its ancient traditions together with a very modern way of life.
That blend.
Yeah, that blend. It's not just for show.
Yeah.
It creates these really unique experiences, whether you're visiting, studying there, or just trying to understand the culture, which is what we're going to explore.
Okay, so to really get into the layers of the Land of Smiles, maybe we should start with the basics, like where it actually is.
Good place to start. Geography matters.
The sources say it's right there in Southeast Asia, kind of a crossroads. It's bordered by Myanmar, that's Burma to the northwest, then Laos up in the northeast, Cambodia southeast, and Malaysia down south.
And coastlines on both sides.
Right, the Andaman Sea to the west and the Gulf of Thailand on the east.
And that location, as you said, it leads to this incredible variety in the landscape. The sources talk about everything from those, picture-perfect tropical beaches and islands in the south.
Classic Thailand image for many.
Totally. But then you go north, and it's rugged mountains, dense jungles, very different feel. The central part has these fertile plains, rivers.
And that long coastline you mentioned. Fishing villages, resorts, coral reefs.
Exactly. And of course, the famous Chao Phraya River, it flows right through Bangkok, the capital. It's really a lifeline for the city and the country.
Okay, now here's something that really jumped out at me from the sources, historically speaking. Thailand's unique position. It's the only Southeast Asian nation that was never actually colonized by a European power.
That's a huge point. Really significant.
It seems remarkable, given the region's history. So, what do the sources tell us about how they managed that? And what kind of impact did keeping that independence have?
Well, it's absolutely critical to understanding the Thai identity. That independence, it's not just a fact in a history book.
Right.
It gives them this deep-seated sense of, autonomy, a distinct kind of confidence, you could say. While their neighbors were dealing with colonial rule and its aftermath.
Thailand was doing its own thing?
Pretty much, charting its own course, allowing its traditions, its monarchy, its culture to evolve more organically without that layer of external rule. The sources trace this continuity, this unbroken chain, through key periods.
Like?
Well, for the Sukhothai Kingdom back in the 13th century, that's seen as the birthplace of Thai civilization, even their writing system. Then came the Ayutthaya Kingdom, a longer period from the 14th to the 18th century, often described as a golden age. Lots of art, trade, culture flourishing then.
Right.
And then the current era, the Ratanakosin era, or the Bangkok period, that started in 1782 and continues right up to today with the Chakri dynasty.
So there's a real sense of historical continuity.
Absolutely. Even within their modern system, a constitutional monarchy under the current king, Maha Vajiralongkorn Rama X, that history, that unbroken line, it's fundamental to their national resilience,
And talking about that deep identity, the sources make it super clear that culture and religion are just, fundamental.
They're not just aspects of life, they are life there in many ways.
Yeah, influencing almost everything. Nearly 95% of people practice Theravada Buddhism. And the temples, the wats, they are just everywhere and incredibly ornate.
And it's not just that there are lots of them or that they're beautiful, though they are. The sources stress how these wats function as real community centers.
Not just tourist sites.
Exactly. They're the spiritual and often the social heart of towns and villages. You have famous ones, of course, like Wat Phra Kaew, that's the Temple of the Emerald Buddha in Bangkok. Wat Pho, with that huge reclining Buddha. And Wat Arun, the Temple of Dawn, right on the river. Stunning. But beyond the buildings, you see these core Thai values embedded in daily life. Things like respect for elders, which is huge.
Right.
The idea of non-confrontation, saving face, that's crucial. And just general modesty, politeness. You see it in the traditional way greeting.
It all ties together.
It really does.
Okay, let's talk cities for a minute. Bangkok obviously looms large. The capital.
Oh, yeah.
The sources describe it as this, bustling metropolis, Skyscrapers, ancient temples side by side, crazy markets, street food everywhere,
Yeah.
but still very Thai at its core.
It's an intense mix, Bangkok.
Yeah.
But yeah, tradition is strong even amidst the modernity. And the sources highlight other important cities too.
Like Chiang Mai?
Exactly. Chiang Mai, up in the north, famous for its own temples, beautiful mountain scenery, lots of handicrafts, and that amazing Yipeng Lantern Festival.
Oh, yes, we'll come back to festivals. What else?
Phuket, of course, Thailand's largest island, huge draw for beaches, diving, nightlife.
A major tourist hub.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then you've got places like Pattaya, Krabi, Hua Hin, the old capital Ayutthaya, Koh Samui, lots of key centers mentioned.
Now, something that probably everyone connects with Thailand, the food.
Oh, absolutely. You can't talk about Thailand without talking about the food.
The sources basically call it one of the world's greatest food destinations. They talk about the flavors, spicy, aromatic, colorful, and that balance.
That balance is everything. Sweet, sour, salty, spicy, all working together. It's really an art form.
So what are some signature dishes the sources mention?
Well, the classics are all there. Pad Thai, obviously, the stir-fried noodles, Tom Yum Goong, that fantastic hot and sour shrimp soup, green curry, Genki Wan, delicious, Sum Tam, the spicy papaya salad.
But I love Somtam.
It's addictive. And for dessert, you have to mention sticky rice with mango. It's iconic.
That was amazing.
And what's really emphasized, too, is street food. It's not just cheap eats. It's a whole cultural experience. You find incredible food on practically every corner.
And that vibrant culture definitely extends to festivals.
Yeah.
The sources paint a picture of events that are incredibly colorful, spiritual.
Some of the best in the world, really.
Like Songkran, the Thai New Year in April.
Yeah, mid-April, the one famous for the nationwide water fights. It's huge and a lot of fun, but also has deeper meaning.
And Loy Krathong.
That's in November. People release these beautiful little lotus-shaped boats, krathongs, with candles and incense onto rivers and lakes. It's very serene, very beautiful.
Lovely imagery.
And there's more. We already mentioned Yipeng, the Sky Lantern Festival, mainly in Chiang Mai. Thousands of lanterns floating up.
Yeah.
It's breathtaking. And Visakha Bucha. That's a really important Buddhist holy day, marking the Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and passing. These aren't just parties. They really show that deep connection between religion, culture, and community life.
Absolutely. Okay, switching gears slightly. The natural beauty, it seems immense.
Yeah, it really is.
The sources talk about this incredible range. You've got the world-famous beaches, obviously. Places like Phuket, Krabi, Koh Phi Phi, Koh Tao, Kalipe. The list goes on.
Paradise beaches, for sure.
But also those majestic mountains we mentioned up in the Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai regions. A completely different kind of beauty.
And there's so much more beyond just beaches and mountains. The sources highlight incredible waterfalls, like at Erawan National Park, major national parks like Doi Inthanon, which has Thailand's highest peak, and Khao Sok, known for its ancient rainforest and lake.
Wow.
And importantly, they mention ethical elephant sanctuaries, places where you can interact with Thailand's national animal responsibly. That's a big focus now.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. And then think about the marine life. The coral reefs for diving and snorkeling, caves to explore, dense jungles for hiking. It's an adventure playground, really. Rock climbing, kayaking, it's all there.
So much to offer naturally. Let's look at the economy now.
Okay.
The sources consistently say Thailand has one of the strongest economies in Southeast Asia. And tourism is obviously the massive part of that, right? Millions of visitors every year.
Tourism is definitely a huge engine, contributes a lot to the GDP. And it's varied, too. You get luxury travelers, backpackers on a budget, people coming for ecotourism, even medical tourism is significant.
Interesting.
But it's not just tourism. The sources detail other strong pillars. Agriculture is massive. They're a world leader in exporting things like rice, rubber, seafood.
Right.
Then there's a big manufacturing sector, electronics, cars, textiles, handicrafts, jewelry too. It's quite a diversified economic base, which helps with resilience.
And here's something else that the sources point out that I found really interesting. Thailand's growing role as a hub for, well, education and innovation.
Yeah, that's a definite trend.
It's becoming more popular for international students, language schools, and it's a huge magnet for digital nomads, especially Chiang Mai, apparently.
Chiang Mai is very popular for that, yes. Low cost of living, good infrastructure, nice climate. And there's a growing startup scene, too.
So what's driving that?
Well, the sources connect it partly to the government's big push, this Thailand 4.0 initiative.
Thailand 4.0.
Yeah, it's their national strategy. The idea is to move the economy beyond just manufacturing, towards being more value-based, driven by innovation.
Okay.
So they're investing in areas like biotech, smart farming, robotics, that kind of high-tech stuff. It's about future-proofing their economy, basically, trying to leapfrog into more advanced industries.
Makes sense. But of course, no deep dive is complete if we don't also look at the challenges.
True. No country is perfect.
And the sources do mention some significant ones. There have been periods of political instability, military coups in recent history.
That's part of the modern context.
Environmentally, there are concerns. Damage to coral reefs from tourism and climate change. Air pollution can be a serious problem, especially up north during certain seasons. Plastic waste is another issue.
Mm-hmm. Real environmental pressures.
And then there are ongoing discussions about economic inequality, the gap between urban and rural areas, for instance, and calls for further progress on human rights and democratic reforms.
These are definitely complex issues that Thailand is grappling with, like many countries. But, what also comes through very strongly in the sources, despite these challenges, is this remarkable sense of resilience in the country, a widespread kindness, and this sort of persistent optimism. That spirit seems really significant.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you, the listener? We've covered a huge amount of ground.
We really have.
From Thailand's unique history, that vibrant culture, the incredible food, those stunning landscapes, the dynamic economy.
It paints a pretty rich picture.
It really does. I think this deep dive shows why Thailand is so loved around the world. It's the warm people, the rich cultural experiences, the beaches, the food, the adventure, that spiritual element, and that really unique blend of old and new.
Yeah, that blend again, tradition and modernity coexisting. Which leads to maybe a final thought, or a question, really.
Okay.
Given everything, its ancient heritage, its modern ambitions, and the real challenges it faces, what can Thailand's enduring spirit, that resilience, kindness, and optimism the sources mention, teach us about navigating change, about holding on to identity in our fast-moving, globalized world?
That's a great question.
It seems like a country that, as the sources suggest, kind of leaves an imprint on you. It makes you think.
Absolutely. So as you think back on everything we've unpacked today, what part of Thailand really sparked your interest the most? Maybe it was a specific dish you want to try now.
Or a historical period.
Or perhaps even looking into one of those ethical elephant sanctuaries. Something to consider.